Hey.
Why'd you do that? You totally skipped the...
the intro.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Whoops.
anybody that's watching...
This is not a medical show. This is a
medical
but
show.
We are not medical doctors. Do not take anything we say and, substitute it for doctor advice.
Well, that's it for our show. Thanks for tuning in.
Just completely skipped over it.
I thought it was over. I miscalculated.
Okay, so the way that works now is you just don't click anything, and it's just going to go straight to you now. I told you this already. You watched me do it yesterday on another podcast.
Okay, I messed up one time. Is that what the whole show is
You
gonna
mess
be
up
about?
every time.
Anyway, I'm Sarah Hatfield, and this is Strictly Sickly, and today we're talking about anger.
Anger. It seems like there's a little bit of anger directed in the room.
Just
right
a little
now.
tension, yeah. I'm a little tense.
You started it.
So good.
Gosh.
Okay, so we were going to start with, anger in general.
I think we did.
Everybody gets angry, but some people have anger issues. Brad.
Cough, cough.
You're a B. You were a straight up B word. And I don't appreciate you not telling me what the topic was. Like, hey, do you wanna get in on this podcast? What's it about? Anger management? Why would you just ask me that straight out?
Are you saying something to me? Are you hinting?
I do have anger management issues and mental health issues. It has been a problem in the past.
I have anger management issues.
It is currently a problem.
Aggressive. Always passive aggressive.
Passive aggressive is also an anger
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is an anger issue.
Yeah. So.
But I think that's an anger issue everybody can relate to. Whether they want to admit they're passive aggressive or not is totally beside the point.
Give me an example, Casey. Give me an example of being passive aggressive.
Like rudely hinting, like, "Hey, I wonder how long that trash is going to sit there until someone takes it out," kind of thing.
Isn't that just how you talk to people?
That's passive aggressive.
So if someone is sleeping and you've been asking them to fold the laundry, dumping all the laundry on them, is that passive aggressive?
I don't think that's
or is that
passive
just
anymore.
aggressive?
I think that's just aggressive.
I think that's assault at that point.
One of my biggest problems is not knowing to do with anger. What?
Ooh.
Oh, Brad, what do you? Now you're messing up.
Ooh, child.
Oh,
I clicked me.
Rage.
How mad are you right now?
Anyway, one of the problems I have mostly is once I get angry, I can't get unangry.
Mm-hmm.
It just sort of sits there. I don't know how normal people sublimate that. I don't have any clue.
I don't know. When I get angry, it usually just turns into just being so angry that I break down and cry.
Yeah.
And I'm just mad because I'm crying now.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Rage crying.
Yeah. I don't want to be crying. I swear to God. Just so mad. Yeah, that's how it usually goes.
So, does anyone have any ideas on how we sublimate our rage?
Crush your enemies.
Oh, I know that they
Watch them writhe before you. And hear the limitation of the women. No.
shame.
The only one that likes Conan the Barbarian.
No.
Yes, but anyway.
They were talking about dealing with your anger issues, but everyday psychology always changes their mind as to what is acceptable behavior and what isn't. Back in the day, they're like, if you're angry, go take it out on an inanimate object. And nowadays they say, don't do that. That encourages actual physical harm.
That is BS.
So that changes every day. And I guess, hi, Brittany. I guess everything is...
Julie says hi. I guess she can't comment. Actually, hey, Julie, if you have a chance, try commenting because we tried streaming a different way today. So those of you that sometimes have problems commenting, you might be able to comment now.
maybe.
Hopefully.
Possibly.
I say I've tried everything, like going into the bathroom and counting, punching a pillow, screaming, all that stuff, and none of that has ever worked for me.
Shot of liquor helps. Yeah, that is true.
Hey, everybody.
But
hey, Melody.
Extra shots of liquor are bad. So my problem. So I've grown up with anger management issues and being told I have anger management issues and constantly replying no I don't, and then getting divorced and multiple people breaking up with me and me ultimately being alone and crying in the shower like a man. But here's the deal. Like I've been to therapists about it, and they're like, okay, what you need to do is don't bottle that stuff up. You need to communicate it. Communicate when you're angry. People need to know this.
I think you need to bottle it up.
and then when I communicate it, everybody's mad at me for communicating it, which makes me angry. And then I go punch minors.
The problem is I bottle it up until something stupid happens.
that final little thing just snaps.
I remember the worst two incidences were crying in the McDonald's drive-thru because I got the wrong order, and that poor person in the window just being like, "What is going on?" And one day I dropped a bowl of soup and just had a screaming fit. Like, what is going on? This makes no sense.
Yeah. The last time I got super angry, I was holding a thing of hangers because I was hanging up clothes, and I got angry at Aaron, and I just threw the whole thing at him. And it was like, I don't know, it was something completely stupid. It wasn't worth getting that angry over, but I had just bottled it up for so long that
it was worth it.
Yeah.
Has anybody in the history of anything ever argued about what they're actually mad about?
No, I don't think so.
I don't. I remember one day I came home and there was a slight mess. And I have to reiterate that Mike is probably the best roommate anybody could ever have. I mean, he does normal roommate stuff. He is a normal amount of messy. He is a normal amount of annoying. It's the normal stuff. Like when you live with somebody, you get sick of their face after a while. But I came home and there was like a slight mess. I don't even remember what I was mad about, but I was just slamming all kinds of shit around. And I was just waiting for him to say something. And sure enough, he did. He's like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "This effing mess," and blah blah blah, and I went off like you do, and I was really waiting for a fight, and this son of a bee apologized for he's like, "I really have been behind," but I was like, God, you're awesome. Completely just quelled my anger. Like it just took the wind like right out of my lungs. I went and just pouted in my room for 20 minutes, came out, and I was like, "I'm sorry, man. I'm not even mad at you.
I'm mad about something else."
I don't even know what I'm mad at.
That is one way to fix anger, though, is if you're super mad and the person you're mad at makes a joke that's just hilarious and you can't not laugh at it.
No, that doesn't work.
It works with me if Aaron makes some stupid joke and I'm like, I'm not going to laugh. And then I eventually start giggling. I'm like,
I'm glad that works for you, because anytime I see Aaron make a joke, I still want to punch him in the face, even if I wasn't mad at him to begin with.
I've noticed Caitlin has the same problem I do. Like, even when she was really little, just these blackout freaking rages over the dumbest crap. And I'm like, well, guess that's genetic.
Guess who's got that?
It is weird. Anger does have, like, this genetic sort of quality to it. So, like, my dad didn't have anger management.
It's weird because neither of my parents have anger management issues at all.
Your dad seems like a quiet psychopath.
He's never, like, freaked out. I've never seen him get, like, super angry.
Because he's calculating.
He goes off into the woods once a year and just murders a bunch of deer or something.
See, my dad, he was the kind of guy, like, he'd be working on something, he'd get frustrated, and there'd be a bunch of cuss words, but there wasn't any, like, verbal abuse happening. It wasn't ever directed at I don't know, maybe my mom, and I don't know it. My mom, she would pick up whatever's handy and just beat the shit out of anybody that couldn't defend themselves. And so it was a thing. And
that's parenting.
So I have a combination of the two. So if you ever see me working on a car, there's just all these curse words, and people are like, "Man, he seems really angry." And Mike's been around me enough. He's like, "No, that's just the process. Like, it won't get fixed unless he berates it first."
Oh my God, yeah, ghost hunting with you when we do the NT paranormal stuff.
What?
The first
I'm
couple
so
times
awesome.
we went, you're in the back of the car, just mother effer, this is so stupid. I hate everything, just throwing stuff. And I'm like, what do we do? What do we do? It turns out what we do is we stand back and we let it happen.
Yeah, just wait for it to be over.
Emilio says jokes make him more mad because it feels like his feelings are being disregarded and there's something to joke about.
Absolutely,
don't joke at the same time. I mean, if you're mad, you've already had your argument, and then 20 minutes later you hear him saying something stupid and then you giggle.
Most famous anger management story I have is where I tried to defuse an argument with my ex-wife with a joke. I can't remember what we were arguing about, but
Did you spit in her mouth? Because I hear you have a history of that.
I thought it would be funny. We were putting up groceries, and we had bought like one of those bags of like cat cereal or whatever, and we're putting it up. And she's bitching about something. I'm like, "Oh, you know what'll be funny? It will totally make her laugh and just diffuse this if I throw it at her."
Not how that works.
In what world?
Well,
in what universe?
Like, I didn't chuck it like a hardball. I totally lobbed it, but it didn't occur in my brain that this is like a 15-pound bag of cat food, and so it just like clocks her like into the kitchen.
And that's how Brad went to jail.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What the f are you thinking?" And like, I was like, "How could this get worse?" I don't understand what's happening. And like it made her more mad because she couldn't understand how I calculated that.
Cat cereal fetus.
It was what was
What's
Wendy.
cat cereal?
Yeah, cat food.
Cat Cheerios?
Dry cat food, I guess.
It was like the friskiest
Dry food?
dry food.
I don't think it's cat cereal.
It's cereal.
That's what happens when you can't think of a word.
It's cereal. I'll go get a bag of it now.
Light bug, shiny bug, glowy butt. Oh, lightning bug.
If I had a bag of cat cereal, I'd throw it at you right now.
Cat cereal. Oh my god.
That's great. I guess that's one way to deal with your anger. Just
That's-
find something heavy, chuck it at your wife.
Yeah, and so she told that story to her family promptly, like the next weekend or whatever, and they're like, "Leave him. He's abusive." And she's like, "No, you don't understand." Like even she got it afterwards, but wasn't happy about it. And it's just your brain doesn't function at 100% during that anger period. So sometimes you do things that seem really horrible, but you're actually trying to like fix the problem, but the logic's not there and nobody else can connect the dots.
I don't know. I'm a stuff thrower when I get mad. I haven't done this in years, but it used to be a really bad
Years.
problem.
She means like days.
Mostly it was like I'd have a phone and I would get so mad because it's not working right. I'd do that percussive therapy thing, but one time I got so mad I threw it down on the table and just shattered the whole thing. I was like, well, this isn't better. This is worse. This is not better.
Yeah, I used to a long time ago. My go-to would be break shit, and then I'd be really mad because you can't break something of non-value because it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
You break something of value, then you have that remorse, like almost immediately afterwards. Like, well, damn, now I can't afford a new computer or the thing I was mad about.
Well, that's obviously my son has
Back
anger.
the volume down, just a hair we're clipping.
I say obviously my son has anger issues too because he was losing at a video game. A little more, or is that good?
No, that's good. I like how you back the volume down
And then I lowered my
and then you
voice.
talk quieter.
He was playing a video game one day, and I know that Steven's youngest brother has this problem, but he was playing a video game and it wasn't going right, so he chunked the controller, but he chunked it in such a way that it hit his TV,
Ooh.
which then broke the TV and his controller.
Double point.
And then he comes downstairs, he's like, I need a new TV. Like, what?
Yeah, I play online games with your kid. He's got some
he gets
anger issues.
mad.
That's where my rage issues started. I remember playing
video games,
Atari
yeah.
20, and my dad didn't know. Well, you got to think we're the first generation to have a video game rage of that level because we were the first home thing. I remember playing Donkey Kong on 2600, and my dad's like, "The only way I know to handle this is to take away your freaking video game." But back when we were kids, we could chuck a controller.
And it wouldn't break.
Well, first off, it wouldn't break. Second off, if it did, a new controller was like $25. Now, if you
It's
chuck
like
a controller,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Well, Andrew wouldn't tell me what happened. He just came downstairs. He's like, I need a new TV. I was like, I'm not kidding you. Like, why? He went upstairs. He was like, I don't know. It just broke. I don't know.
That's
what
like
happened.
him the other day. He's like, where's that smell
Oh
coming
my God.
from?
Me and Brad were sitting in my room, and it all of a sudden starts smelling really strong, like perfume. And I'm noticing it, and I think I'm going crazy, but then Brad smells it too. I'm like, Andrew, what did you do? Nothing. Did you spray something? I don't remember.
What did you spray?
Nothing.
Like 10 minutes. What did you spray? I don't know. Well, where is it?
I can't find it.
I forgot.
Like Mina says, I threw a plastic hanger one time so hard that it on the ground that it bounced up and hit my ex in the balls.
Perfect.
I threw my car keys at my seat and they bounced out and went down a store.
That's the worst when you're mad and then it just goes awry. It's like, because now you have something to be freaking mad about.
Yeah, I got mad one time and Steven was like doing that thing he does where he winds you up. You know what I'm talking about. So I threw the remote at the wall, and then it was one of those TVs where you need a remote. So
Can't use that TV anymore.
a bad day.
But to the person that's not angry, it's hilarious to just watch it. Like, man, that person's pissed. And the smart person be like, get out of their way. And then
There's
me and
other
Steven
people
are both the
eating
people that are...
popcorn, just-
Me and Steven are both, hey, what's next?
Yeah,
now what are you going to do, stupid?
And Steven makes me so mad because he doesn't get mad. He doesn't get mad. He just has that smile. He's like, oh, I'm gonna kill him.
You think that's also like like anger management's a problem? Do you think there's too much the other way where you don't
Yes.
get mad enough.
Yes,
Apathy.
I think that is a thing.
But I don't think that gets enough press either, because the person that doesn't get mad at anything gets a lot of praise, and it's like, that's just as bad because
That's unhealthy, bruh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why his blood pressure's high.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's
Keeps
what
it all inside.
100% the reason why his blood pressure's high.
Probably. Keep that bottled up and something's going to just explode one day.
But I was trying to think of the worst time I've ever gotten angry. I can't.
I got angry and did that blackout thing that Kaylin does back in high school. And at the time, I was the lowest on the totem pole. I was bullied a lot and that kind of thing. And I was in gym and I had gotten paired up with like the most popular guy in school. And he was so awesome. Everyone loved him. And he did something, I guess, at something that made me so angry that I blacked out for a minute. And when I came to, everyone in the gym was just staring at me and my face was red and hot. And the guy who, has never been spoken to like that before was just going. So I don't know. I guess I just screamed something amazing at him, and I wish I remember what it was.
Yeah, I used to do the blackout thing, but now it's more like I'm a passenger in my own brain, and I'm going, stop it, stupid.
Stop.
You're making this worse. Why are you doing
you
this?
could just stop. You could just say sorry right now.
Right now, and this would be over. But instead, my mouth's doubling down. I'm like, why are you doing this?
It's like, screw you. You do have a little wiener. What? No. My mom just texted me to remind me about the last time she ever hit me. I actually forgot about it, so she said something. But this is a bridge right here, because I can't remember what happened. But she was mad at me because I was sitting there crying, and but I was doing the thing where I was like sitting on the ground and I had like my knees up, and I'm like doing that, and just and she's like, shut up, stop, shut up. So she smacked me in the back of the head, and it hit my face into my knee,
no.
and it knocked that tooth out. So now I have had a bridge there forever. So it's your fault, Mom.
Lord, a few months ago, Caitlin said the F word at me, at my face, just F you, and I grabbed her by the front of her shirt. And I pulled her face right up next to mine, and I went, say it again. I didn't hit her.
I could have. I wanted to.
I like how that's the moral of it.
I didn't hit her, but she looked real scared.
Brittany said she threw her phone one time trying to break the phone. Instead, it sliced into the drywall and sticking out of the wall. $30 phone was fine, but we lost a security deposit on our apartment. Yep.
Damn, that's when you just learn how to tape in bed real quick.
Yeah, good Lord.
It's not a big deal. I don't have a problem with physically expressing anger if it actually helps you get over your anger. It just needs to not be at a person.
Yeah.
It does need to be an inanimate object or something. Like, so I'm not sure what therapists told you. Like, don't hit a pillow or whatever.
It's changed a lot. They used to say it, and then they said do punching bags instead because that's a healthy outlet. Now they're saying don't do that either, and so it's just changing.
Well, I do understand the aspect of like it kind of conditions you to, well, I'm angry, so I have to hit something. So if there's nothing handy, then you have to tell her twice. But at the same time, like there's only so many healthy outlets for that sort of thing. I mean, I think Steven's he plays a lot of violent video games.
Yeah.
He's probably pretty cool because it's a catharsis for him. If he has a bad day at work, he goes home and he slaughters some people online and thinks it's hilarious.
Emilio asked, did she say it again?
The F word, Caitlin.
Not in the way she said it that time, no. I know she still says it with her friends and stuff, but she has never, again, said it to me like that.
You scurry when you get mad.
Am I?
I've seen you, man. You scurry. I'm going to take 27 steps back, and I'll be back in 3 days. You scare me.
But I'm completely non-violent. Like, I've never hurt a person.
Yeah.
So...
I remember the first time I saw you mad, I was still dating Allie, and we'd like left the house, and Allie's like, and I'm like, fuck that bitch. So I ain't scared of her. And then we didn't go back for like 2 weeks.
Is Allie scared of me?
Huh?
Is Allie
oh yeah.
Good.
She talks a big game when you're not around, but as soon as you're back in the room, just
I'm scared of everybody always.
It's because Allie is one of the like 3 people in my life I've come really close to decking. But I lived with her for like 8 years.
I think she'd surprise you because I've seen her. Obviously, I've seen her at her angriest.
I think she'd kick my ass.
She's. I think she's a fighter.
I know.
If you get her cornered enough, I think she avoids it at all costs.
Part of the reason I've never hit her is because she's gonna beat me to
she's
death.
scrappy.
Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna hit. I was like, don't hit her. She'll hit you back harder. Don't do it, stupid.
Don't do it. You'll pay the price.
Well, and that's the problem. It's not that she's so tough. It's that y'all are both a last word sort of person.
Yeah.
So it's just never going to end until one of y'all is unconscious.
Or both.
Yeah, that is my problem. Is that I feel like I have to say the last word, and then I got into the habit where I would say it and just leave, so no one can respond.
You hear him yell across the house. You come storming back in. No.
I love having the last word.
Actually,
I love having the last word, but I hate when the last word isn't satisfying and it's like silence and it's like, okay, fine, you win, whatever. And another thing.
Drop it.
It's like even when I win, I can't.
I didn't
leave
win
it
good
alone.
enough. I need to win better.
when my menopause was really bad, the anger was
God.
really bad.
It was good.
Like, oh my gosh, it was a whole lot of that. Like, I can't control what my mouth is saying, and I can be really mean. It is unpleasant.
Yeah.
I don't even want to be around me when I'm like that. But I guess it was the lack of hormones or whatever made me lose my mind. But yeah, rage. But we're gonna put this in the context of being chronically ill, and a lot of being chronically ill, I think, involves anger.
Oh, yeah. Lots of it.
Angry at the stuff I don't have anymore. Angry that I don't feel good, and just angry that other people aren't sick.
And then angry that other people don't understand that you're sick. Angry at people who used to be sick that are better now and you're jealous. Angry at doctors.
Angry at doctors.
There's just so much anger to go around for everyone.
Yeah, angry at everybody in the medical field.
Yeah.
Totally off subject, but what about the bloopers last time?
I actually don't know what she's talking
Oh,
about.
that was when we had the feedback
voices.
loop going on. He's actually the one that broke the show.
It
Turns
was
out.
great.
I was trying to make it easier to do stuff and make it to where like the volume was easier to deal with, and yeah. And apparently I'd set it up the way I had originally set it up back in the very beginning, which I had learned on our first episode it was a bad idea.
It was funny though.
It was so funny.
I felt really bad because
No one was mad.
Well, I know, but I just felt bad because I wasn't here to fit. Like if I had been here to fix it, it would have been like, okay, I know it's wrong. 10 minutes, moved around. But I was trying to like tell Sarah a quick way to fix it that didn't involve like, okay, you have to completely rewire our sound mixer. So I'm like, just unplug this and go. And I don't know why you didn't do what I told you to do.
I tried it. It still fed back.
Still did it.
I also don't think it was 100% our setup. I think Facebook was being crummy that day.
I don't know, but it was so funny. We had a hard time like even talking through it. It was excellent.
Yeah, that like if that happens to me on a cell phone, it screws me. Like if I hear myself doubling, I can't conversate because I can hear myself like a second later. The delay screws me up.
Mm-hmm.
So, Casey, what makes you the angriest about being chronically ill? If you had to pick one thing.
It's doctors not listening and dismissing people and writing you off and sending you home like, you're fine. And
Brad, chronic mental health.
What makes me angriest about my mental health? That it's something that doesn't present as something that should physically hold me back, but it can, and so people aren't going to understand it when I'll have to lie about a mental health day, and that makes that makes me angry. Like if I need to call into work because I really just can't deal with it, or I'm going to cut my wrists, I have to say like, oh, I have a stomach bug, and that pisses me off.
Yeah, you should be able to say I need to take a mental health day, and I think it's ridiculous that you can't, because there's so much mental illness that needs to be addressed. What's yours?
I'm trying to think. What makes me the angriest is probably the not being able to do everything I could before.
Mm-hmm.
Not being able to work is probably my main anger.
Do you feel like
issue.
you mourn your past self?
Oh yeah.
Because I just read an article on that recently that was really interesting, but it sounds like you're more angry than you are in mourning about
Grief
it.
for me reads like anger. That always has translated to anger. Like if someone I love passes away, like I get mad. I don't get sad.
That's an interesting point because I notice a lot of people that I do know that have anger issues, it's not necessarily that they get angry real easy. It's that they have a hard time expressing emotions that aren't anger as anger. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times when I'm sad, and like you come talk to me and I'm sad, it comes out as anger. It's not intended that way. I'm not actually angry like I'm sad or I'm depressed or I'm tired or frustrated or something like that.
Yeah.
But it just presents itself as anger, and so it's taken as, well, he's just angry all the time. He's just got a bad attitude, and that's not always true. Like sometimes I can be in a perfectly good mood, but somebody can just say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and I come off as really agitated, condescending, or angry, and I'm not actually experiencing that emotion. Is it like that for you?
Like if I'm having a really bad pain day and someone tries to talk to me, I'm probably going to be really off-putting. I'm probably going to be really blunt, and I might even be downright rude. And people read it like anger, but it's not. It's just that I don't know how to go.
I just can't today.
I can't. And I've started doing that. Like when I get messages on Facebook and I can't just talk to people, I started going, I'm having to people who will understand.
Yeah, like you say it to me all the time.
Yeah, like
I can't today.
I can't
Can
today.
I try tomorrow?
Yeah. Or if someone else is having a problem and I feel like I can't, I don't have the mental spoons to deal with that, I say, can you message me later? Mm-hmm. If this is super important, we can handle it now. And I'm always there, but, can we wait a few hours?
Yeah.
But it does come off as anger, because I know Steven has tried to talk to me on occasion, and are you angry with me?
Yeah.
No, I just hurt. I just physically don't feel good. And all emotions that are negative compute to anger for me.
Yeah.
Do either of y'all have a way that you have, like, obviously not all the time because it's an ongoing problem, but have either of y'all ever found a way to deal with it that did work, like in the moment or whatever, and you try to replicate? I know you can't replicate it every time, but has there been anything that has worked in the past?
On just the anger?
On not just taking it out on everyone and everything around you.
I just sleep it off.
And that's how people try to beat depression. And that it's a cycle, because too much sleep will cause depression.
And I can't ever sleep. So
you've got the insomnia.
Yeah. That probably factors into the
I get
anger.
Ragier. Like I usually, it's about 3 days a month where I'll go like 3 straight days without sleeping, and by the third day I'm pretty
grumpy.
touchy.
Yeah.
But for me, some of the stuff I can do is go for a car ride, go hiking, something like that. That helps the anger. The problem is often that makes the physical health worse.
Right.
So
I do like to listen to music, and sometimes that helps. If you're just laying in bed curled up and you're just kind of listening to music, sometimes you kind of get in the flow of it, and then you start feeling a little bit better.
The thing I have found, and I keep hogging the mic, and I'm not meaning to, but it's just the anger is one of my big things, because I really do have a big problem with it historically.
That's why I invited you on the show.
So historically, I have not had good control over my temper, but it's got better in the past. I think
it's gotten a lot better.
Through various avenues, the therapy, just kind of managing other anxiety things, stuff like that. But the thing that has been successful for me, and of course you can't replicate it every time or whatever, but the thing that has been successful for me is learning to step out of the situation, like entirely. Like, so like you were talking about, you're watching your whole thing in third person, you're like, I can stop this anytime. Forcing myself to just say, stop, just stop for a minute, go away, leave me alone, whatever the argument is, just bring it to, not like get the last word, but say, just hold on, just give me a minute, I need to stop and collect my thoughts, and just give it a minute, and just stepping outside of that, and maybe not necessarily rethinking whatever you're arguing about or whatever, but just let the emotion process for a minute, and it does give you a second to, because some people will be like, count to 10 or whatever. 10's not enough for me.
Yeah, no, I need like 1,000,000.
It doesn't work. So I think that's what you're doing with the drive, is you're geographically taking yourself out of the situation. That's why that works for you. With your sleeping, you're taking yourself out of the situation for a minute and kind of recharging.
The solution to anger is disassociation.
Right. And I always remember that trope about, like, don't go to bed with your spouse angry.
Yeah.
But the thing is every argument I I ever resolved with my ex-wife or anybody I've ever been with has been resolved by, hey, let's put a pause on this and just
See how we feel tomorrow.
just do other stuff and sleep on it. And then usually when we wake up, we're like, it's not that big of a deal.
Mina says real quick, it makes me angry when people that don't have anxiety or depression say it's all in my head and I can control it, I can fix it, maybe, but no. Yeah, that's not the way it works. I was going to say, the problem with that, especially with my type of anger, is that if, let's say Steven has done something legitimately bad.
Yeah, it's worse when you have a legitimate reason to be angry.
Or let's say he's done something that I legitimately see as bad while people on the outside might not. And if he says we need to put a pause in this, I'm not going to move away from that. I'm going to think about it, because I am obsessive compulsive. I have the actual disorder. I am diagnosed. This is a thing I have. It becomes a... like Chris was responding on our podcast yesterday, talking about the watching certain things and it leading down this thought train that traps you for days. Walk away from a fight. I have to have some sort of resolution. I cannot go to bed like that. Me and Steven have probably never let an argument pass sleep time because I'll wake his ass up. Because I can't sleep like that.
Well, and on a level, it's good to hash it out because the other thing that fixes both my anxiety and my anger is fixing the source of the anxiety and anger, especially if there's something to legitimately be mad. The problem isn't usually that I'm mad for no reason or a reason that isn't right or valid. The problem is my response to it is more than what is merited. So it's like, if you don't make the bed today, it ticks me off. If you don't make the bed tomorrow, it ticks me off a little bit more. You don't make the bed for a month, I am unreasonably angry about you not making the bed. But that entire month, I never said anything about it. I just got pissy about it because every day I told myself, this is not a big deal. Don't be mad about this. And I've told myself that so many times that by the time I'm really effing mad about it, it's too late, and it's an argument over something stupid. And you're like, well, why is this such a big argument? It's just making the bed. Well, basically because I just let it go so long and stew in my brain that I have a disproportionate response.
I also think it's never just about the bed. It's always about all the stuff they didn't.
Oh, yeah. But that's just the example, is that it's like it's something small, but the response is disproportionate. And there is a logic behind it. But when you just blast off on somebody, they can't see the logic. All they see is, man, I'm just getting yelled at because I left my socks in the floor, or I left the toilet seat up, or I forgot to go cash this check when I said I was going to do it today, or I forgot to go pick up your meds on the way home from work. Because I mean, to be fair, I mean, when the shoe's on the other foot, like, man, I worked all day. I had to remember to pick up dinner. I had to remember to pick up the kids. I had to remember to do all these things. I forgot the one thing. Yeah, you told me to do it 10 times, but I had a lot of other stuff I was thinking about. And it is reasonable from that perspective. But from the other perspective, it's, God dang it, I told you to do this 10 times. Why aren't you listening to me? So by the time it gets there, it's just this full-blown rage, and it makes no sense from either side. And when you look back, you feel remorse because you're like, I can't believe I just blasted off about this. And then you're mad at yourself for responding badly. So it's this really bad cycle.
So another one we were talking about before is, since all of us have anxiety pretty much, is anger because of being anxious. Steven dropped some news on me the other day. He'd forgotten to tell me something. Like that someone was visiting or something. And this means we got to do stuff to prepare. And I get mad. And it's because I'm anxious about the thing happening. It's not because I'm mad he didn't tell me. It's because it's stressing me out that, now I have anxiety over this. And I'm not sure if that's everybody, but...
Yeah, I definitely get that all the time. I've got the bad anxiety, so sometimes it'll just be something stupid again, but if it causes me anxiety, then like I don't have OCD, but I am a clean freak, and so something that sits there and sits there and sits there causes me to be anxious. I'm like, I need that to be clean, but I'm too sick to do it. I really need you to do it. And then it just builds and builds and builds to the point where I'm having basically an anxiety attack because there's a dish in the sink. And then I get frustrated at not only them for not doing it when I ask them, but also me because I know it's stupid and I need to calm down. But what?
Oh, they were just commenting. I think the other thing we were talking about is people being angry at you for being sick.
Mm-hmm. You can't help it, guys.
But I do, like, I've told Steven before that he has a legitimate right to be angry at me and angry at this situation. He married a healthy person. Mm-hmm. This is not what he signed up for, and I know it's in the vows, whatever. But that's not the reality of it.
No, it is valid. It don't. I'm gonna get blasted for this later. It is valid to be angry at somebody for being sick. Anger is a valid emotion, whether or not the reason for it is valid.
Yeah.
You can't help how you feel. And the thing is when somebody's so sick to the point that you're constantly taking care of it, and that doesn't mean you don't want to, it doesn't mean you don't care, anything like that, but it is tiring. It is a full-time job. It is something
there's
you
a
got to deal
term
with.
for it. It's caretaker fatigue.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And even the best of us are going to feel angry about it at some point. Now, if you're sick yourself, you have a little more understanding. You may have a little bit more time before you hit that burnout stage. But it's totally valid to be angry at somebody for that. But at the end of the day, it's not their fault either. So it's really hard to deal with that emotion in any kind of healthy way, because if you say you're angry, if you try to do the right thing, and I come to you and I say, it's like, look, I know it's not your fault, but this is pissing me off. I need to, it's going to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
Even if you think it won't, even if you logically know, it's going to hurt. It's going to sting. And if you have your own anger issues, then it's going to double down. It's going to go back and forth. But it is a thing that happens, and it's something that has to be dealt with. And it's really hard to decide what is a healthy way to deal with your anger in that. And I think if you're a solitary person, you're all on your own. How you deal with your anger is kind of your own business. If you want to hit a bag or drown kittens or whatever you do.
Don't drown kittens.
But when you're in a relationship and you have to learn how to deal with your anger as a team or a couple or whatever. It's a two-part thing. I think that's what I was missing before in my previous relationships. Is I was really, really struggling. How can I deal with my own anger? I felt like I was alone in it because and it also had to do with a lot of the people I was in relationships with. Not that they were bad or anything, but they were thinking in terms of, you need to deal with your problem. But really what it is how do we need to deal with this problem? Because my anger isn't just my problem. It's our problem. As an NTP group, it's our problem. I understand that y'all know I can't help it or whatever. I can, but I can't. I'm struggling with it. And you're having people that have understood that I have an anger problem and that I'm working on it and are willing to have some give has given me the ability to deal with more of it on my own end. So it is one of those situations where it's not like, well, what can you do to help make your anger better? Well, it's what can we do to make my anger better? Because there's a lot of things that I've had to straight up tell you irritate me.
Yeah.
And anybody I'm friends with nowadays, they know what my buttons are and they avoid pushing them. And that helps tremendously.
I think that's a good relationship topic in friendships or relationships is the thing you're doing right now, it bothers me. If we could maybe work on this behavior together. Now you tell me a behavior of mine that bothers you. And we can also work on that. The
problem is the anxiety of having that conversation, because no matter how you bring that up, somebody could feel attacked by that. I'm a sore loser and a sore winner.
Really?
And I've tried working on it over the years unsuccessfully, and I have figured out, even though I really like video games or whatever, I don't like losing. And I really suck at winning because I always want to have those friends I can just joke around with and make fun of and jab at. And I think I can take that back as good as I dish it out. I don't. If you've beat me at a video game or some game like 9 or 10 times and you're making fun of me for it, I do take it personally and it does piss me off. The solution is hey, maybe I need to not play so many stupid video games, and I need to do some more fulfilling things in my life. Maybe I don't like video games as much as I thought I did, you know?
I was going to say, Brittany said, yes, all the time. It makes me so mad because some days I just physically cannot get out of bed, and someone will be mad because I can't do the laundry or do the dishes or I call into work, and it makes me mad because there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, I seem to find myself angry at myself a lot of the time. Because I should be able to get up and do this. Why can't you do this? Why can't you just force your way into this? Why can't you just deal with this pain and get through it and do what you need to do? Why are you being such a whiny baby? I mean,
I have that same because anytime someone talks to me about getting another job, I go through this whole, I should be able to do this. I just need to buckle down more. I'm just not trying hard enough. This has nothing to do with me being sick. It has everything to do with me being a wussy baby.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also the relativeness of pain too, because physical pain doesn't keep me from going to work or getting the things done that I need to get done. Like when my foot was screwed up, and
it might if it was bad enough.
Well, when my foot was screwed up, I only took 1 day off of work, and even though they said you got a screwed up tendon or whatever, I still went and did what I needed to do. I pushed through it, and of course, in our culture, everybody's like, "Yay, Brad! That's how you're supposed to do it. Awesome." But the thing is, if I have a bad enough mental health day, I'm going to pretend that like I broke my leg so I don't have to go in, because that will stop me from doing something more than breaking a bone or having the flu.
Yeah. Because I remember when I was working back at Barnes & Noble, I had that cart that I ran over my foot with, and I broke 2 of my toes. And I finished my shift. I went home, and I was like, well, I'll go in tomorrow. We'll see how it is. And then I tried to work on it for a while, and it's not that bad. And so that kind of thing wouldn't put me out. But then if I wake up and I'm hurting, my normal hurt.
Internally.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, I can't. And then other days it's the mental health thing of I cannot go to work today. I'm too anxious. I'm too depressed. Whatever it is.
That's the kryptonite, is the pain that everybody can't see.
That's what's so weird. Is like, why was I able to work that day on a legitimately broken leg?
Yeah.
But some days I hurt in other ways that probably aren't even as bad as that.
And when you were dying from the blood clot, we were like, hey, maybe we should do an ambulance. You're like, no, I'm just walking in, and until they told you, hey, you're about to die, like you weren't even phased. Yeah, I mean, you were worried, but you weren't. You're like, I'll get into the bed on my own and blah blah blah.
I can do
just
it
totally,
myself.
totally physically stubborn. And when your CRPS is flaring up, that's not what stops you from going on.
I think that's what bothers me the most. Is it's not the actual pain that's wrecking me. It's because I mentally cannot handle my shit.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not doing the laundry, and that's what's hard to communicate, like especially with Steven having to do everything around the house, is he understands it's because I hurt. And it's just not in the way you think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think the anger comes from the other end on it, because we see like you have time to do the podcast. Mm-hmm. You have time to go do an investigation. Why can't you make yourself do the laundry? And I'm not saying that accusingly, but that's the thought process behind it. It's like doing the laundry is easier than coming over here and doing a podcast.
But it's not for me.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's harder to do things that you already don't want to do. And your moments of being able to do anything are fewer and further between.
And I'm not going to pick to do something crappy.
Right, yeah. It's like, man, I feel great today. You know what I really want to do? Take, like, shots to the head.
Yeah.
It's like, it totally makes sense. Hey, I can move around today. I should do something that I normally can't do, which is, like, go out and do an investigation or a podcast. Or
because I hate cleaning with a fiery passion. I thought everybody hated cleaning like I hate it, but apparently no. Apparently that's weird.
Even somebody like me who enjoys cleaning, if I'm having a bad pain day, I'm not going to clean because I don't feel good. And then if I get 1 day of respite that week, I'm not going to clean that day. I finally feel good. I'm going to do something I want to do for a second.
So me and Casey both are seen as people that like cleaning, but here's the thing. You only like cleaning when you don't have to do it. Like, I don't
see it as you liking it. I see it as different than the way I would rather break my own arm with a hammer. No, I'm serious. I would rather break my own arm with a hammer than vacuum. That is how much I hate. I don't know why I hate it so much, but I despise it.
I like cleaning and organizing my space because I have control over it, as long as it's like my mess I'm dealing with in my own space. If I'm cleaning up after Aaron.
Well, that's that's like a nuclear bomb went off and you're trying to clean it up after a
I hope
day.
he's watching.
It doesn't even bother. Like, I don't even like cleaning up after myself. If you've ever seen my side of the bed in my house, you know this.
And actually, I was
Julie
thinking
says
about it.
Julie said it's because you feel so alone when you're doing things that you don't necessarily enjoy too. So I can kind of see that also.
I use cleaning as like a kind of catharsis thing. So that is actually a way I deal with anger. If I get really upset or angry that day, if I clean, it's kind of therapy.
Well,
See, on the other
it gives you
hand-
control over your
On the other
environment.
hand, cleaning makes me angry. If I'm not angry before and I have to clean something, that is a sure way for me to for me to pick a fight with Steven. Mm-hmm. I'm not even mad at him, but I'm having to do the dishes. And I don't understand where that hate comes from.
And why do you always offer to clean over here? You're like, oh, I want to clean. Let me clean.
Because I don't live here.
Yeah, kind
It feels inappropriate to leave a mess here.
It is. So why do you keep doing it?
There might also be a thing of if you choose to clean, yay. But if you're forced to clean, no.
I can't
Go
clean
screw
when
yourself.
other people are around.
I can't either, and I don't.
If
want you
Sarah's
to watch
here,
me.
I can't clean. If I clean when Mike's at work.
Yeah,
I'm also OCD, so if I'm going to do the dishes,
you need to clean it 3 times.
I have to do everything in multiples of 3. And the problem, especially for me, is soap on dishes. If I feel it at all, then I have to do another round of multiples of 3. I got in a pattern once where I was washing a cup for Andrew, and I don't know why, but my brain's convinced that the soap is going to poison my children if I don't wash it off thoroughly enough. I washed that cup 37 times before I made myself turn around and try to go get ice from the freezer for him, and I couldn't move. Like, I couldn't make myself walk until I went back and I finished the other 2 washings I had to do to fix it. It's like moving through molasses. I can't do anything else. So if I start cleaning, the problem is I have to have a starting spot and a stopping spot, and it has to be clearly defined, and I have to do the whole thing.
Yeah, I have to. The way I do it around here, I think I have a. I know I'm not OCD, but I have kind of a similar problem where I can't stand like an unfinished project. So what I do when I'm cleaning the house is I turn all the lights on, and then I'll start in whatever room I've decided to start in, and then when it's completely clean, I'll turn the light off in that room, and then I'll move to the next room or whatever. But I can't move on to the next level until I've completed the level
like,
before
I also
it.
have steps. Like I start with the trash. Trash goes first. Then goes the dishes.
And you got to go top
then
to
goes
bottom.
the laundry. And yeah, you got to start from
But
this
like
side
with
of the room and
me,
move to
doing
this
the
side.
dishes can take 6 hours.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Just a dinner's night of dishes, having to rinse it enough times to get my brain to click over is frustrating.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nuts.
I don't know how to. And I've taken meds for OCD. The problem is every med I've taken has made it worse. It has given me another tick, another ritual I have to complete. And if I don't complete it, it's like my brain thinks the world is going to end.
Yeah. Like how if I leave a restaurant without stacking the dishes, I can't stop thinking about it until I either stack those dishes or I've been away from it for 3 hours because it bothers me.
Well,
if
see,
I don't stack
that
them.
actually sounds more like OCD.
That is OCD, but it's just not.
I'm not diagnosed with OCD. or
OCD
anything.
has to be basically life crippling before they'll
Yeah.
diagnose this. One of mine is touching my finger, like doing it a certain number of times.
Yeah.
And I'll lay in bed at night and I'll make myself stop. But then I can't sleep until I forget.
Until you finish it.
And there's no rhyme or reason of it besides the multiples of 3. It can be 99 times or 30 times or 33. I can't do even numbers, but it's always different. It's just whenever my brain goes, okay, you're done now.
Yeah.
See, I don't have that. Like, if I don't finish it, like, it's not. It frustrates me, but it's not the end of the world. Like I'll be frustrated about it and thinking about it, but I don't have to go complete that task or I'm going to slip my wrists that night. Like, I can still sleep, and I'm like, I'll get to it tomorrow.
No,
or
me and
whatever.
Aaron had a full out fight once because he pulled me away from a table at a restaurant because I was stacking and he wanted to leave and he was pulling me away. I was like, I have to finish this. You don't understand.
Yeah,
And-
it becomes a thing where I cannot do or think about anything else until I have finished that. That is the only thing that will occupy my mind. That's the compulsive part of the disorder.
Yeah.
Amila says, but then you feel like it's not finished, so you spend an hour trying to find something else to clean, so you feel like it's finished.
Everything's clean. What
So
else
it-
could I clean?
So, like, one of the problems with, like, I got this book I need to finish.
Yes. Because
Hardcore.
I enjoy
So here's
this
the
book
thing.
And I need to see its ending.
I can't write a word unless the house is clean because I feel like
It's cluttered and your mind is therefore
like
cluttered.
yeah, and that's all I can think of. I can't write because I'm like there's stuff that I need to be doing with my free time. I so seldom get free time. I need to get these things done. And it takes so long to clean the house that by the time I'm done cleaning the house, I'm like,
Can't write anymore.
okay, I can do this writing now. And then I'll sit down and do it. And I'm like, man, I really earned some free time. I should just go to, I can't do it at that point.
I think
And I'm stuck in that cycle every weekend.
I think most people with anxiety have low level OCD. I just think it gets to a point, like when I was a kid, this was not crippling. It was a way I had to eat or walk, but it wasn't, I mean, I'd sit in church and write numbers repetitively, which turns out isn't normal for children.
No.
But,
Your mom says you have autism.
but it hit a point where I couldn't walk down the road without crossing every crack with my left foot. And if it wasn't an odd number, I'd have to go back and re-step. And first off, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Second off, everybody goes, "Oh, you don't really have OCD." Everybody, it's in vogue now. Everybody
Everyone,
says
yeah,
they
it's
have
cool
OCD.
to have OCD.
No, I actually
Yeah.
and people don't think I have it because I'm not a clean person. I am a straight up slob. But part of the reason I am a slob is because I have OCD.
But yeah, you're compulsively messy. There is different levels and types of
Like hoarding
OCD
is a compulsion. And
Yeah.
that's extremely
I'm
filthy.
not a hoarder.
Really?
Oh, I'm not.
Should I take some pictures of your bookshelf?
Okay, I might
Books
be.
are not meant to be
I
thrown
don't think
away.
books not hoarding. But what I mean is, I don't.
Said every hoarder ever.
I'm not.
No books.
I'm not a slob because I'm a hoarder. I'm just a slob. I'm not saving stuff because I might need it later. It really comes down to, most people would call it laziness, and that's what it reads as.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not saying I'm not lazy, but that's not the root of the problem. That compounds it.
So, kind of back to the anger thing. Do you think it's just another way that anxiety I think it's all rooted in the same
Anxiety
problem.
and depression, I think, can both read
Depression
severe
makes
anger.
me mad.
I think anybody that you look at that you say has an anger problem or an anger management problem, at their core, they have a deeper mental illness that stems from either anxiety or depression.
I mean,
or
that's
both.
what I tell Caitlin every time she has some sort of school bully. I say they're like that because there is something very wrong in their life or their brain. People aren't just naturally like that. There's something going on. That doesn't excuse their behavior.
Yeah.
But maybe if you can think about it like that, you're less likely to get mad at them.
I always found the best, and I never really had a problem with bullying, and I always stood up for myself in school and things like that. So I didn't get bullied a lot, but I always found the best medicine, at least back then. It may be different now because you have a completely different environment, was compassion, because I always kind of understood where that person was coming from. Because if the person getting bullied thinks that the bully is popular or cool or whatever, and they're getting bullied because they're not cool enough. But I remember kind of stepping back from that a few times, and I always actually ended up making friends with the bullies, and their attitude changed. And usually when you look at it, it's people that don't have any friends.
My
or they
bullies
don't
were
have
always
any
school
outlet.
outcasts.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, sometimes the popular kids are mean, but the people that physically beat the crap out of me in junior high were never popular.
The people that physically beat the crap out of me were the popular kids,
See, I
but
think
they
that-
had problems at home.
Yeah, I think that happens too. But I do think that stems from something else being wrong in their life.
Yeah. And since it's such a stigma or whatever to talk about mental health and actually get help for mental health, you would never know if they actually had a problem. They wouldn't know if they actually had a problem. So they just say, I have anger issues. And then it'd just be brushed aside, since the medical field and society in general says mental health is your own problem. Deal with that behind closed doors. Don't talk about that. So,
And it makes no
another problem.
sense. And the most interesting thing, I was seeing a psychologist for a little while when I started that Zoloft, and I had the full-on mental freaking breakdown. And, her idea was because, I had been repressing emotions with anger, and the Zoloft had let them sort of free, which was entirely unpleasant. And if that's what antidepressants are going to do, no more of that.
No, thank you.
I lost my train of thought. What were we?
You're on the Zoloft. And
I was seeing her. She said, I don't understand why the medical profession treats mental health and physical health like they're different.
Yeah.
When it's all the
Still
same
your
system.
brain and
It is part of your body. It is part of your physical health. She said, I don't understand why. She said, you think it would be a weakness if you found out that your depression was actually causing some of your physical pain. Because I noticed the Zoloft had helped that and helped me cope with it more than help the pain. And I thought, well, then basically I've been making this up the whole time.
Yeah.
If the Zoloft is helping my actual
like,
pain.
No, the depression is also with.
And she sat me down. She's like, that's not how this works. It is legitimate. It's not you making it up.
Yeah.
But people have enforced that belief on us that if it's in your head, it's in your head. But your head is what feels pain. That's where nerves go.
Your brain
Yeah.
is the most important organ in your body, bruh.
Yeah, depression and anxiety present themselves as like very real physical handicaps all the time. I've had times when I've woke up so depressed or so anxious that I can't get out of bed because it hurts.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna die.
I've gotten so depressed I became physically ill.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just-
Every morning it starts with nausea for me because of anxiety. It's not because I'm sick. I have anxiety and it causes me nausea.
It took me a while to figure that out when I was working at the group home. I'd throw up every day before I went to work, and I thought, man, I got some sort of disease, and it turns out I was just stressed.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sort out why it was.
It's kind of like the way that I quit my last job. I started having such bad things of anxiety before I would go to work that I started just sitting on the edge of the bed and being unable to get up and go to work, and I would sit there until I was late, and then I would panic and just call in, and so that's how I ended up quitting that last job. Is I just no-showed because I was having an anxiety attack on the corner of my bed and I couldn't do anything. And so it does do physical things to you, and I don't know why mental health is so mistreated.
I love all the tropes. It's like what's that saying? If you can't change it, if there's nothing you can do about it, then why
Be anxious because my brain says I'm about to be eaten by a bear.
Be anxious about it. If you can change it, then just change it. It's like,
my amygdala hates me.
bitch, if I could change it, I wouldn't be have anxiety over it.
Yeah, that's one thing that Aaron doesn't understand anxiety at all. So a lot of the times when I'm having a problem, he says, well, is there anything we can do about it right now? And I'll say no. He's like, then don't worry. I'm like, that's not how this works.
Yeah,
Steven
not
does
at
that
all.
all the time. I'm like, in 2 months, we've got this bill due. And Steven's like, that's 2 months from now. Why are you worried?
Because I'm going to worry about it every day, all day until it's there.
And Steven has this real let things be and they'll sort of work out attitude.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God, that's
Aaron,
amazing.
you
I
know
hate
the
that
way
attitude.
I would tell him, you know why things work out? Because I obsess over them
Until
and fix
I make
them.
them work.
You think that though. That's the thing. And I've been on the other side of that. I would love to be able to think that way more often. The only way to fit, and that's what people don't understand about me when I make my posts about anxiety or whatever. I get all these great, and I love all my friends. They're doing it because they care about me, and I don't want you to stop texting me, and stuff. But I love some of the responses I get because it's like, well, have you tried? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You don't think that's the first fucking thing I thought of?
That was our show last week or whatever we were talking about. Have you tried this? Yes, I guarantee you I have.
No, I've tried absolutely nothing to fix myself. I want to be like this.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
enjoy
yeah.
this misery.
There's this anxiety medication you can take. Or maybe you should go take a walk. Well,
Go talk to
look,
a therapist.
here's the deal. I am very familiar with how my anxiety works. We've known each other a while. The only thing that fixes my anxiety is fixing the problem that's causing my anxiety. And if I can't fix that problem, guess what you're stuck with?
Anxiety.
My anxiety.
Yep.
And the only way for me to healthy deal with that is to tell you, hey, I have anxiety. And if you're tired of hearing it, then you don't need to be my friend.
Yeah.
And that's not fair, and that's not meant to be rude. But the thing is I deal with anxiety. If I internalize it, then you get to deal with my anger management problem. If I externalize my anxiety, you get to deal with listening to me talk about anxiety all the time. Which one do you like? If you like neither, you need a new friend. I'm not the friend that you need.
Amelia says that's totally a male response. Men always want to find the solution to the problem, and if there is no solution, then why dwell on it? I'm guilty of acting that way, but I try to prove my
God, yeah.
point.
See, I always try to find a solution to it, but then if there is no solution, the anxiety just stays.
This is where I have a typically male response to something that people see as a female. When someone messages me with a problem, my first instinct is to try
Find a
and
solution.
fix this. So I've had to start sitting back and going, maybe they just want me to listen. So
Yeah.
I'll respond back. Do you want me to listen, or do you want me to help you fix it?
Yeah,
And
I do the same
the other
thing.
thing is we're all real familiar with each other's quirks or whatever. So like I can call Casey out right now. You got this one thing that just doesn't work, but like you have a problem. You're stuck in your anxiety thing. All 10 of us will text you the solution. Like
and you're like, no, that solution's stupid. I'm not doing
like the
that.
legit, like, hey, this is what we can do to fix this. Like, we can all come together.
Like, you're all stupid.
You don't even have to deal with this. Like, we'll fix it for you. It's not a problem. We're your friends. We love you. And you're like, no.
Well, that's also because I don't like to be a burden on people.
But dude, I've almost thrown my phone because you're like, we don't have any groceries. I'm like, well, let me come over and buy you some. You're like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm like,
I don't like to be a burden on people.
We have meetings about you.
I know.
But I was like, but the way you need to think about it is, what if one of us messaged you with the same problem?
I do the same
Would
thing.
you not do the same?
Yeah,
I know it's hard to
That's
take
why,
help.
like, logically, I'm like, if I was to have this the opposite direction, I would do exactly the same thing, and I would really want them to do it, and I'd be so mad if they didn't. But when I'm on the other side, I'm like, I don't want to be a burden.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't make them do that. And so,
that's that dual frustration we're talking about, though. We're mad at you for being sick. It's an illness.
And then I'm mad at me for not taking advice because I'm too. Yeah.
We're all bitching at you because we're like, why is he not taking our advice? You know,
stupid.
I do the same.
I know,
I'm guilty.
we all do it.
Guilty of the exact same thing. Well, have you tried just doing money doesn't grow on trees? Shut up. It's like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, people have texted me completely legitimate advice for my problems. I'm like, you idiot.
It's none of your business.
I obviously know better.
Yeah, I think we all do that.
But I was gonna say, part of the thing I've used to explain the pain turning into anger response is, have you ever been punched in the nose?
Yeah.
And then someone tries to talk to you.
You're like,
just stop.
Go away.
Talking. Stop talking. Yeah. I try to like, that's how I explained it to Steven.
Yeah.
Is probably don't talk to me when I'm doing that thing where I stare in the corner of the room. If I've gotten quiet, things are bad.
Yeah.
If you're arguing, you have a chance. But if she gets quiet, you should just back away.
Yeah. If I'm in the fetal position in the dark under a blanket and you come in and say, "Are you okay?" and I do not respond to you, leave me alone.
Yeah.
So there's two people in our group. Their response to everything is tears to win arguments. That'd be Sarah and Allie.
I do not.
Oh no? No, never. We've been driving around going, what do you want to eat? What?
Yeah,
why is it this every time? All right, fine. I'll just drive off a bridge.
I don't know. The asking what you want to eat thing does get exhausting. You're like,
Yeah,
you know what? Just choose.
Why is that the core argument of
You
the
could
universe?
probably punch me in the stomach and call me names, and I would be less likely to cry than if you asked me what to eat for dinner.
I don't know why that's the thing. What do you want? No, what do you want? No.
But I don't actually do that, just for the record.
We do actually know one terrorist, somebody who just to get their way will burst out in tears. They're not even sad. They just want to get their way, so they'll just cry.
Is it Aaron?
No, he doesn't do that. It seems like he would be the person to do that, but
I also think people get accused of tear terrorism when they're just criers.
yeah, like how when I get super angry, I just burst into tears and then I'm mad because I'm crying, and so I'm not being a tear terrorist. I'm just so mad
because I don't think I know any legitimate tear terrorists.
Not one. Not one comes to mind.
I'm not sure if I know anybody that specifically cries out of manipulation.
I do. I'm not gonna. Well,
oh, you do, or you know somebody?
I know somebody.
Oh,
I'm not gonna. Well, they don't watch the show. My mom is like that. To get her way, she will just burst into tears until they agree with whatever she says, and then she's instantly okay.
I say, my mom.
I think I go to it when I feel so cornered that like I don't have an argument anymore, or when I know like I'm just totally wrong. I think I just break down.
I don't want to admit that I'm wrong.
I see my mom's been accused of that, but actually after like observing her for my entire life, I think sometimes she just feels cornered. Mm-hmm. And then she's crying because she doesn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
So let's look at it from the other angle. So we've been talking about like anger and anger management as from the perspective of somebody that's angry and has a problem dealing with their anger. What about as dealing with somebody that has, how do you deal with me?
I don't. I just walk away and I come back when you're okay, because I have the apparently childhood trauma, so now I can't deal with people.
So
I can't deal with people yelling.
That's also really rough when you're dealing with somebody that has had previous abuse because they don't know how to deal with somebody else's anger. So that's a little rough. But
someone yelling, anyone raising their voice, somebody putting something down loudly.
but putting your thinking cap on. Let's pretend we're all healthy people for a minute.
Okay, we've all got healthy.
And you're dealing with somebody that has an anger management issue. How do you properly deal with that person?
I don't think there's a proper way. Unless
It depends on them.
the person, yeah. Because if they're the kind of person that wants to talk it out, or if they want to be left alone, or whatever they need to have done, you'd have to just kind of do that.
Yeah,
I guess.
you're going to
I don't
have to
know.
have communicated clearly with them about what they want when they're like that. About what's the best.
That's not me, bro. That's if you're mad, then I'm mad that you're mad.
I think if you don't have anger issues, the best thing you can do is be compassionate and understanding.
Yeah, which works for pretty much any other aspect
Well,
of people with chronic.
and to be honest, that's how Mike diffused me that one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he.
I'm so sorry.
Honestly, I never thought about it, but he may not have been sorry. He just may not have wanted to deal with my shit that day. And he's like, you know what? The easiest path
do that to
right
you.
now is just, hey,
I've done that to you before, and I'm sure you've done it to me, where you're mad about something, and I don't think I've done anything wrong, but I'm just like, I'm really sorry I did that. I suck.
That also is you apologize all the time because of things. I do
But
the
see,
same thing.
I get mad at people who apologize for shit that, like, somehow when I'm really angry, I can still step out of my side enough to go, no, you got a valid point. I want you to be mad right now. I just also want you to understand that I also have a point. Well, then what do you want the end goal to be? Death? It's just battle?
No, rage.
Fisticuffs in the yard at 12.
Look, we just need to yell right now.
I keep thinking of the big mouth where he's getting mad. Rage.
Okay.
Oh my God, I love the Valentine's episode. It was great.
Wine. Wine helps lots of it.
I think it's because we have the weird Jesus comment on our...
What?
The
Oh,
blood
yeah.
of Jesus saves sinners. Are you talking wine? Because wine helps.
The blood of Jesus. Drink it all.
Well, any final thoughts, people?
Well, I mean, religion might be a go-to for some people, actually.
It has
It's-
actually really helped. My mom, I know, has, it's really cathartic for her. She's really tampered a lot of her negative behaviors with church.
I think for some people, I crap on religion a lot, but I crap on people that are using religion wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with having faith or believing in stuff, but don't
weaponize it.
Yeah.
Don't weaponize it, and don't buy into the negative portions of, where you're judging people around you and all, like, none of that's good. But I think there are people that are, kind of more generally religious, whether it's Christianity or whatever, and they really care about the people around them, and it does make them better people. I haven't really seen a big organized religion that I like at all, because, but I have seen individuals that have, like, their own faith and stuff like that. And it does help them, and it does make them better. One person in particular is actually my boss, my direct boss, who I'm friends with, and earlier he's like 43 now, I think, but earlier in his life, he did a lot of, like, drinking and going out. Like, he's not a prude or anything like that. But later in life, he's like, you know what, I want to go to church, and so, he got sober. He doesn't do any of that stuff, and he's not stuck up. And he doesn't. And the other thing is, he doesn't agree with his church on every single thing they do. And if they do something he doesn't like, he'll go find, like, another church. But he is real into, like, hey, this weekend we're going to make sack lunches and go give them out to homeless people. And, we're going to do, like, community outreach. Like, he does it because he wants to help people. And so he's a member of a church that does that's their focus, not preaching the Bible, like, word for word. So that's what he's into. And he takes his kids to church. And, we jump on people for, like, indoctrinating their kids or whatever. But I think he's actually one of the people where I agree with the way he's doing it.
Yeah, I think,
sort of thing.
I think religion can make a lot of people a lot better. For me, it made me a worse
Yeah, I was
person.
gonna say I did the exact opposite.
But
me.
for people like my mom and some other, like, family members and friends I've had, it has made them better people. And, if they do it right, if they're not weaponizing it or using it to bash other people, and they're just, using it to be more service oriented.
or what Amelia says, not shoving it down
Yeah.
someone else's throat.
But I definitely don't think that's a bad coping mechanism, as long as you're not using it in the wrong, like any other coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, anything can be bad. I mean, So
you've got
being
anger
an alcoholic
issues-
is bad, but relaxing with
Yeah.
a drink isn't bad.
Yeah.
Like we've got it so ingrained in our culture that's like, well, don't drink that's a bad way to deal with depression and stuff. And yeah, you're right, but for a normal person who's like just had a rough day or whatever, and you come home and have a scotch at the end of the day, that's not bad. And you shouldn't feel bad that having a drink makes you feel better.
I think they mean don't drink away your problems by binge drinking.
Yeah, I
and
think they
blowing
mean not
out.
10 drinks.
I know, but they present it like one leads to
Yeah.
another.
Yeah.
So if I
God,
ever
I hate slippery slope arguments.
yeah, if I ever say like out in public or with people that don't understand what I'm talking about, like, man, I've had a really shitty day, I'm gonna go home and have a drink. People will be like, like all this, like all I do is go home and just drink away my anxiety and then beat
Moral
Sarah,
panic.
and then I go over to Casey's and just uppercut everybody and then drown the cat. Like, that guy drinks too much. No, I just said I had a
Anger
particularly rough day today. Not like a scotch.
Sorry, I got
And it-
distracted because we said we hate slippery slope arguments, and I just
I know,
realized that
that's
our thing
slippery
it says
slope.
discussing a slippery slope. That's
You're the
funny.
one that named that.
I did not. I said it's anger.
How slippery
I
is
said
that
we
slope?
should name it anger, rar, and no one listened to me.
I dislike anger.
Hey, that's a slippery slope. Just because I ignored you doesn't mean I was passively aggressive renaming the episode.
I don't agree with slippery slopes where it applies to morals.
yeah.
If you let the gays get married, people are going to start having sex with kids. That's not the way that works.
They're gonna
That's-
marry their dogs.
I'm like, when people say that to me, I'm like, what worries me about this conversation
Is
is
you
you
don't
don't understand
understand
consent and you terrify me. You were terrifying.
Get out of here.
They get super offended when I say that to them too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even mad at you, just don't come to my house.
Stay away from my kids.
Yeah. And my dog.
My cats.
All
and
you're
my
doing
goat.
is proving is you want to marry your dog, you sick F.
But no, yeah. I think emotions can be a slippery slope, though. If you let yourself get as mad as you want to every time, probably people aren't going to like you much.
Well, especially if your emotions present as the wrong emotion. Like, it's like, oh, I'm having this problem, but I'm going to present it as fucking anger over this thing.
Well, that's
it's-
my friend, a really good friend of mine from high school. His mom passed away, and instead of being sad, I screamed at everybody in my general vicinity. Like, this is not the way you should respond to that.
What's going on with I'm really sad. Man, something's wrong. I hate things.
Which is exactly the way it goes.
It's just I'm crying. It's like, is there anything I can do? No.
It's just so sad.
Why are you stabbing that puppy? Because I can't stop crying.
Okay, so any final thoughts before we
kind of went off on a weird place.
that's got to happen at least once per episode.
Yeah, that is kind of our shindig. So
Final thoughts. I don't know. Be kind to your neighbor.
love each other, guys.
Get your cat spayed and neutered.
World peace. Don't have kids.
And don't kill people if you're sad.
Don't terrorize people with your tears. If people give you advice, maybe try taking it once in a while.
Once every 37 times.
Say if it's valid advice.
Yeah.
If the advice is
Go jump off a
Go-
bridge. I'm probably not
Maybe
gonna
you
do
should
that.
kill yourself.
or if the advice is yoga is going to cure your rheumatoid arthritis, probably not. That's probably not a thing that works.
I'll tell you one thing that makes me angry when so you see, so mental health is stigmatized a lot, and you see a lot of people's like, check on your friends, blah 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 blah. Hey, look, yeah, check on your friends, but just reposting the suicide hotline doesn't freaking like, they know the number. Trust me, they've thought about it.
They called it and then hung up immediately.
When people are like, hey, like the world's ending, I'm really angry, I'm really depressed, whatever, there's not a good answer for it, but to just be like, suicide is bad, don't do it, because
That doesn't work.
that actually makes it worse, because the thing is it is a really valid thought, because
That makes me angry because I'm like, you know what? If I want to off myself, that's my damn business.
It's my life. I'll end it if I want
and,
to.
and from that perspective, at the end of the day, it may actually solve all your problems. You may not like it, but the truth is it may,
Is the fact is suicide would immediately solve all those person's problems.
so would money. Money and suicide will have the same effect.
Oh God, that makes me so mad. Money wouldn't fix your problem. Actually, it will legitimately fix every
single one
problem
of
I
my
have right
problems.
now.
However, that doesn't mean I'm advocating just like, hey, tell your friends to kill themselves or whatever. But
no.
Oh no, we had that whole episode over suicide. We're like, we're not saying you should kill yourself, but maybe you should kill yourself.
I'm saying it's
but you should moderate your response, your idea about how you approach that conversation.
What I'm saying
with
is,
that
I don't
person.
think suicide is evil or selfish.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think people should do it if there is any other way. But I do not think it is a innately evil act or something that is used to harm the people around you. Mm-hmm. That is a purely self-fix.
No, I'm thinking about was it Wiccan in there?
Oh yeah, that said if you do
kill
it, you have to come back chronically ill again.
It's like you got to do the exact same thing and over again until you can deal with it. And
That's the worst. That's the worst.
Oh, God.
That's worse than hell.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to hell.
That is hell. Golly. That sucks.
Okay, well, I guess we'll wrap it up. I'm not sure what we're doing next. What weekend are we going to Yoakum?
next weekend.
No.
Weekend after next.
23rd.
I think we're probably not going to do a podcast that week. Or if we do, we're going to do it a day earlier.
I got a lot of prep I got to do that week.
But besides that, we should have shows. So unless someone needs to take a mental health day or a physical health day,
Like last week or the week before, whatever week we took off.
Yeah.
Because
Go figure that
I couldn't.
the chronic health show is often skipped because of chronic health
sometimes
problems.
not on. But thank everybody for watching.
Bye, guys.
Exit bumper. Click exit bumper. Now turn off the volume.